I am going to be making bread today, and I thought I'd take you along on that process with me, from grinding the grain all the way through to pulling it out of the oven and showing you the finished product. So what I'm going to do first, I'm using Spelt grain, and that is, let me just adjust the camera here so you can see it. Okay, I have my Nutrimill electric grain mill here. Then I also have my Spelt grain. This is 100% organic Spelt grain from Montana Grain and Flour. So I did order that directly from them, and I have been pleased with everything I've ever ordered from them. So all I do basically is I fill the hopper up, and typically it makes 6 loaves of bread. So let me go ahead and do that. Sorry about the noise. Okay, and as I'm pouring, I'm looking for anything that shouldn't be in there, stones or anything odd. I don't want it to damage my grain mill, and I don't want it to be in my bread. Okay. But like I said, ordering from them, I've never had any difficulty or any issues. So a little bit more. I think, let me see, what is this? I don't know, it's just a piece of grain. So, okay. So I have all the wheat in there, the Spelt grain, and this is really good for diabetics. It has a very low glycemic index. It doesn't affect the blood sugar nearly as much as like a hard white wheat or hard red wheat. So then I just put the lid on, and it does all the work for me. I usually make sure this is at between 11 o'clock and noon position. There's a little nub thing on there. And then it's going to get noisy, and I apologize for that. Let me go ahead and bring you over here a little bit more, because we're getting terrible shadow from the window here. Okay, you're not going to be able to see anything, but I'll get it started, and then I'll pause the video and bring it back and show you the flour. Okay, make sure this is pushed in. Okay, I'll be back in just a minute. Probably about, I don't know, 4 minutes or so. And when it starts getting a high-pitched noise, then you know it's done. So I've just been working on getting the other ingredients prepped. Yeah, let me do this so I can see. All right, so this is, you're seeing what I'm seeing? So this is the freshly milled flour. I always like to tap on it, because, let me get this where you can see it, because that way the flour that's been stuck to the, that's better, stuck to the lid will come down a little bit. Okay, let's twist. Wow, I think I overfilled it a little bit. And then I always take this cup off, because there's always flour in there, and there's nothing wrong with it, it's just flour. Okay, give that a little tap. Okay, and you have your freshly milled Spelt flour, very fine, because that's the setting that I chose, which is about right here, 11 o'clock on my grain mill. You could have coarse all the way over here, but for bread, I like, of course, a fine flour. So, and it smells amazing. There's nothing like warm, fresh flour. So let me go ahead and get the other ingredients prepped, and I'll get my mixer out here, and we'll go ahead and we'll make some bread together. Okay, so I have my mixer here. You can use any mixer, or you can knead by hand, mix and knead by hand. This Bosch universal mixer was a gift, and that's what I enjoy using. So the first ingredient you're going to put in is 6 cups of warm, and that's like tepid. And I'm just using filtered water from my sink. Okay, so 6 cups of water. And then 2/3 of a cup of oil, and where's my oil? Okay, here. This is what I like using, just because I like the ingredients to be as wholesome as possible, but you could use anything. So, and I always put the oil and the honey in the same container. That way the honey comes out easier. So, sounds crazy. All right, 2/3 of a cup. Pour that right around. The same amount of honey. And my honey, I've had it soaking in, this is local honey, I've had it soaking in boiling water because it started to crystallize. I only use it for making bread, but it's gotten a little crystallized. I use it every week, but I thought for the video I would loosen it up a little bit. So 2/3 of a cup, and it works just fine because of the warm water that's already in the mixer. And one thing about honey, it never spoils, never goes bad. So it's pretty amazing. Okay. 2/3 of a cup of honey. Again, I prefer local honey. See how easy that comes out just using the oil in there first. Next ingredient is 2 tablespoons of salt, but I hold off on that just because it stops the yeast from working. So I always add that last. Next ingredient is your yeast. And this is what I get. I get it from Gordon Food Service, and I keep it in the freezer. I paid $2.95, but I've had it for about a year. But this is how I actually store it, and just in a mason jar. Okay, so 2 tablespoons. I'm going to go ahead and just mix this so it incorporates the yeast into the ingredients and it gets it activated. Okay, and then the next ingredient, 2 tablespoons of Vital Wheat gluten, and this is what I used. It's from Honeyville Farms. I've been using this for years, and I have always been really happy with it. Okay, so just 2 tablespoons. That adds the gluten because the spelt is very low in gluten. And then a surprise ingredient that I use is from Trader Joe's. It's vitamin C crystals. It's just a powder. See, and I use 2 tablespoons of that as well as a dough conditioner. So it's just kind of like my little secret ingredient. You could use a commercial dough conditioner if you wanted to, but I just figure add a little vitamin C in. All right, let's give this another mix. Okay, now we can start adding in our flour, and we're going to add in flour, and I know you can't see down there very well, but we're going to start adding it in until it starts pulling away from the sides. The dough pulls away from the sides. So we're going to need probably most of this. And again, we're making about 6 loaves. It depends. It's different every time. The humidity in the air, it really, there's so many factors. We'll need 20 to 22 cups of flour, and I'm not counting because I just watch and stop when it pulls away. Okay, I'm going to keep adding it in, and I'll be back when it starts getting close. That looks good. I don't know if you can see. Getting really clean around the edges. I think I'll add just a little bit more. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and put the lid on, and then we're going to let that knead for about 6 minutes. Alright, we have about 22 seconds left before the 6 minutes are up, and the only other thing that I did off camera was I did add 2 tablespoons of pink Himalayan sea salt finely ground. So it's just about done kneading, and then we can divide it and let it do its thing, let it rise. All right, there we go. Let's see what we have. It should be what we're looking for. Let me get the camera adjusted. Okay, so I'm not sure how well it's showing, but what we're looking for is, like I said, it's a soft dough, so it's going to be sticky. It's not going to have that elasticity. But let me get my hands floured. And what we're looking for is just a little bit of pull. Okay? Yeah, it looks like we have that, so looks good. It came over the top, so it's a little bit messy, but let me go ahead and get my counter floured and dumped out, and I'll be back. Alright, so the only thing that you missed, I had to plug you in for a few minutes, but I just dumped the dough out onto my floured countertop, and then lightly floured the top of it, kneaded it a few times, and then flattened it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and divide it into about 6 loaves. Okay, and then I also weigh them just because I want them to cook evenly. So I want them to be about the same because it's not a perfect rectangle that I'm dividing. And so they don't have to be exactly the same, just kind of roughly. Okay, so here are my 6 loaves, and I can already tell, as can you, that some of them aren't the same size. So I just bring in my kitchen scale. I'll go ahead and tear that. All right, and so this first one, 25.4. This is on fluid ounce for some reason, but it's fine. 25.4. This one is 16. See, so that's definitely not going to cook the same. So I'm going to go ahead and take some off of that. So now this is 17. And I'm going to take some off another one that looks big. Okay, so this one's 19.4. So my goal is going to be to make them all around 19 to 20. Okay, so let me set that one aside. That one's done. This one's still 24, so I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit off of this one. You never want to just tear it because it breaks the gluten. Okay, there's 2. This is a small one. Let me do this one. This one's only 16. And now it's 20. Okay. Let's see what this one is. This one feels heavy. 23.6. Take a little bit off of this one. Okay. 21.9. So they'll all hopefully be, roughly the same. This one's 22.2. What's this one? This one feels super heavy. Oh my goodness. 26.8. So I'm going to go ahead and add some to this one. Some to this one. Okay. Do it again. It's just part of it. I apologize if this is monotonous to you. Okay. 24.2. 22. 21. So I'm going to take a tiny bit off this one. Call these 3 done. 21. 22. And I realize that we're not using fluid ounce, but that's what it's already on. So I'm going to take another little bit off of this one and add it to this one. Okay, so I'm done with my scale. Let me go ahead and turn that off. All right, so now we're going to start forming our loaves for the first drives. Okay, and all I do is I just kind of flatten it out, fold it in thirds, turn it, flatten it again. Okay, just trying to get the air bubbles out of it. Might be a little extra, but and I tuck it in. See, all I'm trying to do is just pinch it down, pinch in the sides. There are better bread formers than me, but this is just the way I like to do it. And then I grab it, slam it down, tuck it, tuck in the ends. Okay, these feel really good. All right, these are the bread pans that I use. Norpro, I got these off of Amazon. This is the larger size. I also have the smaller, but I like a nice size loaf, so it's non-stick, but I like to go ahead and spray it. This is spray from Costco. Okay, just set that in the middle here. Okay, and then I'll cover this and let it rise. Okay, I'll show you again here. Fold it in thirds. Again, just trying to get the air bubbles out. And then just tuck and roll, tuck and roll, tuck tuck in the sides. Okay, if it gets a little sticky, just add a little bit of flour. Okay. Tuck in the ends. Okay. Alright, so this is basically what I do, and I'll finish off with these other 6 loaves and bring you back right when I'm sticking them in the oven. Alright, so it's been about an hour, and you can see the bread has risen behind me here, and it will rise a little bit more as it's in the oven cooking. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in the oven. I have the oven at 400 because when I open it, I'm going to lose some of the heat. But I actually want to cook it for about 30 minutes at 355 degrees Fahrenheit, okay? So we have our 6 loaves. Let me go ahead and put them in. And it's a little precarious trying to put 6 loaves in, so you just got to kind of set 4 in the back and 2 in the front, and it typically works out all right for me. You have to have a little bit of airflow in between, obviously, so you don't want them too close to each other. Plus, you want them to have room to expand and do a little more rising. Put this one in the back. See, I have the oven, especially trying to put in 6 loaves. I'm losing heat every minute that this is open. So, okay. Go ahead and put these in. Drop my heat down to 350 degrees. Set my timer for 30 minutes. And the house is going to start smelling absolutely fabulous. So I will be back to show you when I pull them out of the oven. All right. So I thought I'd give you a little peek in the oven. Oh, it looks amazing. All right, it has 15 minutes left. So it's been about 28 minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and poke them, well, at least one of them, with the my meat thermometer and see if the temperature is 180 degrees. Okay. Okay, looks wonderful. So again, I'm looking for 180 degrees right in the center. That way I'll know that the bread is done. Oh yeah, 190, so we're good. All of these out so they stop cooking, and I'll get them on the pans. Don't they look amazing? Okay. You might be asking what I do with 6 loaves every week. I actually share them. I keep 1 or 2. I give 1 to my eldest daughter and 1 to my son, and so that's 4, and then I have 2 to share with friends. So yeah, who doesn't love fresh, hot bread? And I just look for somebody who might need a little pick me up, and just try and make their day a little brighter. Okay, so what I'm going to do is get these out of the pan, and you might be thinking, why is she touching that? Well, I have a little bit of asbestos fingers, so it's warm, but it's not terrible. I can handle the heat, okay? I wouldn't recommend doing that at home. Okay, and then I have a bit of, I usually use butter, but today I'm using an egg white wash, and I have egg white and water mixed. I'm just going to brush that on with a pastry brush just to give it a nice sheen. Okay, so very happy with how they turned out. Let me turn my stuff off here. Very, very happy with how they turned out. Beautiful, 100% spelt grain loaves. looking forward to sharing these. Once again, you just want the inside temperature to be about 190. That way you know it's not doughy. There's a thump test, but I'd rather just have a hole in one of my loaves. That's usually the one that I keep, and you can't really see it. Okay, I'll give you a closer look in just a second. Alright, so here's the finished loaf, and it looks wonderful. I think it rose really, really well, and I will cut into it as soon as it cools a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take this loaf, and I like to use a slicer. It just guides my cuts to be more evenly. I'll cut a few, that way get right in there. And I pick these up at yard sales. Alright, that's what the inside of the loaf looks like, and I think it's turned out absolutely perfect. So I hope you have a good day, and I hope you give it a try. Like I said, just all healthy ingredients. You saw everything that went in it, and it just tastes and smells amazing, and it makes great toast. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a great day. Okay, bye-bye.